Hello everyone, welcome to this session. In this session, we will continue talk about MATLAB custom functions. Today, we will focus on anonymous function. So what are anonymous functions? Anonymous functions, we can say they are simple functions. So they accept multiple input arguments and only return one value, which means one output. And this function contains only one expression, and the result is the output of the function. So in this case, we don't need to explicitly define the output. So unlike what we have said previously, we need to write a separate function file, or at the bottom of a script. Anonymous function can be defined at any point in a script, wherever you can. Eventually, anonymous function can be used as a function handles, or we call it function pointers. So if you have learned C programming, I think you will know that what is a pointer. If you haven't learned that, don't worry. You can just consider function handles as a variable, and this variable represents that function. And this variable can be used anywhere you want, right? So now let's see an example of an anonymous function. Yeah, so this is an example. Function name equals to add by the input arguments, then the function body. So from this example, we can analyze how does this anonymous function work. First of all, let's see what this function is doing. So we can see the return is what? arg1 multiply arg2 plus arg1 plus arg2. This is the function body, and this is what we are doing. So we calculate the result of x, fx1, x2 equals to the multiplication of them plus the sum of them. So the function body is here. Then we see the input. So what are the input? arg1 and arg2 with a parenthesis, and followed by the add symbol. Then we can see the order of them. We can see the first is a function inputs with an add, function inputs, then the function body. Right. The result of this function body will be returned. So no explicit output is defined because there's only output one value. At last, we assign all of this to a function variable. We call it func. We call it function handle, or its function pointer, no problem. We call it a function variable now. So this means this one is both a function and a variable that can be used elsewhere. So let's see it again. So this is we first say the function name. The function name is also a variable, equals to add. We do the input by the parentheses, then followed immediately the function body. So this is the definition of anonymous function. As I have said before, this function can be defined anywhere in the script, and you can use it once it's defined. Okay. So when an anonymous function is defined, you can call it like any other functions. For example, the function before, we can use func with the parentheses 1, 2, 5, 7. So it will provide us the result. For more details, you can see the live script. Remember the func, we also said it function handle or a variable. So if you check in the workspace, you can find it. You can find this variable. So this means that we can use this variable repeatedly over and over again in the same script. We can either call it or use it as an input of another function, or use it just in the script anywhere. So let's show an example. We put an anonymous function as an input of another function, as you can see here. This is a function. We can see function vector out equals to apply to vector parentheses, vector in, func. So we can see this function, we have 2 inputs. One is vector in, this we will go in, it means this is a vector. This func is a anonymous function that we have defined, right? So let's see what does this function do and how the func is used. First line, vec out equals to zeros, 1, length vec in. So the length function, we haven't discussed it before. So this means we get the number of elements of a vector. So for more details, you can check the MATLAB help file. And with this size, we provide a zero matrix. So it means vector out initialized as all zeros. Then a 4 appear. So we haven't discussed this 4 yet. That will happen in the next session. But I think you can guess, right? So I equals to I colon, step size is 1, colon, length, vector in. So this means what? This means I from 1, 2, 3 to the length of vector in. So if it's 20, then it's 1, 2, 3 to 20. So this is 4. And for each element, we can do this. Vector out I equals to func. We see the function variable is used here. So this is a function handle. We use it as a function, and we applying it to the every element of the input vector. So we can see the vector out is updated after this function ends, right? So we can see here the function argument is a function handle, and this represents the function, right? So this applies to every element of the input vector, right? So this is how to use the anonymous function to another function. Following the same way, you can use it anywhere in the script, right? Okay, so that is an anonymous function. So if you are interested, you can do this exercise. This exercise is not required in this class, but to motivate you to learn to understand more about the anonymous function, and you also need to learn the mesh grid, the serve, those 3D functions, and I put the hyperlinks here, right? And so 3D plot functions. So if you're interested, you can do this, and the result is here, right? And you can see the detailed code in the live script. Okay, that's all for this session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.